Hi guys, it's me. I'm playing Balatro right now, so let me introduce all of us. Hi, my name's you don't need to know who I am. Anyways, I'm joined by DRF, David, DRF, Mr. CCA himself, Skinny Legend. I'm joined by Vapor, who's like in Pennsylvania, I think. And then I'm also joined by a 30-year-old man with a wife and children.
Yeah, you're right. A 30-year-old man with wife and children. Oh, my back or something. I don't know.
On the note of skinny, whatever you called me,
Skinny Legend.
Skinny Legend. There you go. Fun fact, actually. Allison's grandma apparently the other day was making comments about, like, she was like, you should consider another man because David looks like he shakes when he's cold, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like,
everybody shakes when they're cold. That's how that works. That's called
that's
shivering.
But like, yeah, exactly. But like, I don't know. She was very concerned about me being especially cold and shaking like uncontrollably. So there's your fun fact of the day. So I don't know. Apparently, there is now concerns that I am too skinny.
Was not ready for that. That is.
I wasn't either.
Yeah, no, I wasn't either. So
That's like medieval times thing. Like, hey, you want somebody with a little cushion on it, so that person obviously doesn't get enough food. Like, bro, I know you eat food. We good. I have obviously big things of ice cream.
So yeah, at the end of the day, I do like shake my leg a lot whenever I'm like just sitting around. Like, I'm actively shaking my leg now. So I don't know. Maybe it stems from that or something. Who knows? I don't know why she commented that, but her grandma is unhinged, so I do not take offense.
Apparently, my To the Moon merchandise falling over. Dr. Eva fell.
Yeah. Wait, did you have that there last time?
Yeah, I did.
I do not remember seeing it. So, all right. Well, I like it. I thought about getting those when they ran a while back, but I ultimately decided against it. But they are really cute.
You're really
689 of those of Evo was made. Neil, you had 668 made of those.
Damn, so Evo's more popular.
Yeah,
I'm surprised Evo was more popular,
actually.
Oh,
So I wonder if that's a little bit of a factor, which threw me off too, because I expected Dr. Watts, because he is a bag of fun. He's the Mewtwo of that
fun at
storyline.
parties.
He's definitely the Mewtwo of the game. So
What?
I thought people would be like buying him up, but it threw me off too.
Have you played To the Moon Mewtwo?
No.
You should try it.
I'm playing Balatro.
He would cry. He won't admit it, but he would cry.
No. Exactly. I agree. I do agree. Mewtwo would definitely shed a tear and then pretend like he didn't.
We probably should get on topic, though. We have a lot to talk about. We gave ourselves 3 topics today to talk about.
We do.
Though we gave ourselves more time. We gave ourselves aiming for an hour and a half, but up to 2 hours. We gave ourselves a little bit of sanity this time, but we also gave ourselves an extra topic. So we have a lot to talk about. So if we don't jump into it, we are going to be quite behind. So I think the one we're going to talk about most, though, is the one I think we should go ahead and jump into. Our main topic for the day: good old SAC.
Big old man.
Yes.
What?
Okay. First question is: does SAC still stand for Splatoon Advanced Circuit, or did they change the S because of Nintendo guidelines?
I think they left
because everyone just says SAC, but I don't know if they officially changed the name of it.
I think it's still officially Splatoon Advanced Circuit, which it was amateur prior. For those that don't know, it was amateur, and then they upped because it used to be the same level as Low Ink, Div 5. Then they upped it, and so now, yeah.
4.
When Low Ink was first starting, there was something they used to fight with all the time because SAC was there first, and then, or no, they may not have been first, but they might have been bigger.
No,
I think we were first, but they like dove into it faster, and so it was the same thing. And eventually, they changed it to a higher thing, or maybe it was like one div. I don't remember anymore. It might have been a little
I was
different.
gonna say, I think it was just
but
a
it's
div
close.
higher
It's a little
because
higher.
I remember because I think Midway and SAC like came about at the same
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
If you know Midway, then start
Midway
checking
and
into some
SAC
geriatric care, but
Midway and SAC were the same cap level, which was
They
just
were,
a little
which-
bit above the low end.
above exactly because I remember that with like UCSD folks, like we were like super proud of like our performances in I think Midway specifically. And I remember like SAC, we played like Sons of Anarchy, and like we went toe to toe with them, and we were like, yeah, we could hang with like good teams. So I think they was after low ink, but slightly above.
Yeah, you might be right. Because I remember, though, it was close enough that it mattered for low ink when we were first making it, that we had to try to not run on the same days and everything. And let's just say us and Nathan did not get along very well. I think a lot of people can say that in hindsight, but
I was gonna say, that's
for
a
the
name I
most
haven't heard in a
part,
hot
we kept
minute.
it pretty civil, but it wasn't always the most great relationship between all of us. But
Yeah, and then
nonetheless,
and then
I do remember that we had to. So I might be wrong about the div, but it was at minimum close enough that it mattered, that you wouldn't want to run the same thing at the same time. You know, just like you wouldn't want to run a a D4 thing on the same day as low ink now, right? You want to spread things out.
exactly. And then Midway and then SAC merged,
Yeah.
and then IPL bought out SAC like in very quick succession. So,
one
like, it was-
season or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been more seasons run under IPL than there was in that merger at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So business acquisitions.
It's like classic with business, right? You got to get economies of scale, except nobody's getting paid.
Oh yeah, I love Splatoon. I'll leave it at that.
Anywho, let's jump into this. So I think the first thing we should talk about is just our general season, and then we have some spicier things to talk about with SAC.
Mm-hmm.
Do we? Oh,
Specifically you. But
me?
Specifically me, but we've talked about it. We've all talked about this prior to stream. So, and
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I showed up here like 3 minutes before we started, so I'll figure it out when we get there.
We talked about this like weeks ago. We've all talked about this.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I probably don't remember too much. So we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
So our first qualifier, I have to remember who we had on the roster. Not me pulling this up right now, really fast.
Me-
Oh wait, everybody's on. All six of us are on it.
Vapor, Kraken, Pork were the first
Yes.
two qualifiers.
Yeah, so we went with the no.
And then I don't know,
aggro.
Mewtwo, did you rear your head into one of those qualifiers?
I did for 3.
I don't think so.
3. And that's
Pepe
it.
and Mew were in for 3.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And
You
you
know,
two
shout
are
out
out.
Pepe. He's
Yeah.
watching the stream.
Yeah, Pepe. Yep,
Shout out Pepe. He's watching the stream.
we do love Pepe.
Shout out Pepe because he is watching the
Gotcha.
stream right now.
Yes, thank you, Mewtwo.
Yeah, and then and it's just because we're mentioning it, for finals we had 5 of us, but for the most part it was Vapor, I, Pepe, and Moo for the most part. So we
Yeah,
had four-ish.
Pork for one set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for one set, and then internet died. But for one set, one game. Well, one game.
True.
Don't wanna-
It
don't wanna
was a
take away
game and
his
a set in a
credit on
game.
But Pork was there for all 4. Just didn't obviously had to sit out for the rest of finals with the internet issues. But for the most part, so me and Pork were there for the entire ones, and then we rotating cast of the rest of us per TZS tradition. But I guess I can go ahead and kind of we can do some funny. Hold on, guys. You guys ready for crazy things?
No.
You're not ready for it.
I'm not
Hold
even
on, I
watching
gotta
the
switch this to
stream.
the other screen. You ready? Bam! You can
Whoa.
see it now. Woo!
Yay!
So we talk about kind of our group stages and talk about some of the stuff. Oh, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna talk about this later. The C existing, but that's a story for another time. So. Yeah, we ended up going 4-0 in the first one. Not a perfect sweep in any way or group. Obviously, we came out, lost the first game, by the way. We lost the first game. Great way to start SAC, by the way. Let's just go and lose a game. We did win the set. But I mean, I don't think I have too much to say.
It was the first game in a while.
Yeah, it was. And it was first one really with that group of 4. We didn't get a lot of practice with it. I think we got literally, 1 game or 2 games of practice with that group of 4 in particular, because you came like late to a scrim, and then I think it was Vapor had to leave or something like that, where somebody was leaving, one was coming in, and we got like 2 games of practice and the other one's dipped, almost like ships passing in the night. And so we just didn't get any practice with this group of 4 going into it. And we got a little bit punished there to start. Credit to the other team, right? They, took care of business in the first game, taking us out. But like, nonetheless, we kind of got our act together a little bit, got a little bit of more to, Distinct took a game off of us. I don't know. That was game 3. I remember that in the footage now, where we couldn't secure the game 3. But at that point, we had won the set already.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Good old Clamblitz Barney.
We've worked a lot on that since that first SAC, by the way, because that was this is October?
Yeah,
Yes,
this
something like
is,
October
that.
12th.
I would say mid-October, yeah.
So we've put in a good month or 2 of good work on that now. Where I don't think by any means it's a place we're really good at. It's something we've definitely gotten better at. Oh, I'm in the wrong group. My apologies. So we did end up winning our group 10-2. Nothing too shabby. Took care of business. Took care of the 3-1 team, Tigers and 4 in our round 4. So overall, I don't think our group stage was anything too bad with a group of players that we're not used to playing. I don't have too much to say, but I'll tell you what, I think we're all a little bit disappointed with our bracket run.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, for sure. I mean, because like if you look at it as well, like looking at the bracket, if you go based off of the pure seeding of the event, like that was the only matchup of teams that were expected to be in this position, the 2 versus 7. All of the other teams that made it were either playing a team that should have been seeded into silver, or based on the initial seeding, of course. Or obviously the number 1 seed played 1 game and dropped because I think someone left, or like they literally like did not even get to play anything at all. So from what I recall hearing, I believe the team that was the number 1 seed, I think they played 1 game or 0 games. So like it's not even that they lost the set per se. They literally, I think, timed out of that set.
Of course, I'm not going to be able to pick that out in any way here on stream for you guys, but
yeah.
And then they never returned. They were a pickup group, so like, I understand that not coming back. I think actually one of the players even got removed from SAC mid-season.
Oh, really? For like results or?
Yeah, results. Not. Nope. I'm thinking of a different player. Nope. Okay.
They got
I was gonna say because at least as SAC rules has it listed is that once the season starts, your eligibility status based on results cannot change.
I was thinking a different. I had a player in mind, and again, that's not a diss to the player. I mean, if the TOs tell you you're too good, that's not a diss in any way.
Yeah,
so
of course.
I was gonna point it out, but that player is not on the roster that I was thinking of. I must have been thinking of something else. I don't know what I was thinking of. Huh.
No idea.
But it was a really fun set, that Loxay set. As much as we lost, and I think it was a really enjoyable one. And I think Loxay, with the group we had, their playstyle counters ours really well there. With our obviously having no aggros whatsoever, we were more of a passive comp with that. And so they took care of business. They knocked us out. And funny enough, denying us one of the shots at chocolate milk that we had. Because we would have faced him in the next round.
Yeah, that's true. I I didn't even think about that.
It's a theme that we will not face chalky milk in qualifiers.
Spoiler alert.
So yeah, a little spoiler alert. And so we just don't get it there. We come in going, hey, we're a little disappointed. Yeah, I think in the end, a little disappointed. We only got top 8.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fun set, little group, but at the same time, we didn't have the group we normally run.
Mm-hmm.
We that's still 100 points. That puts us at a good baseline. Literally only 8 other teams have that or better, or 7 other teams, including us, top 8 or higher, get that many points. So it's like, we're already in the top 8. No, not a bad place. We were already planning to go into Q2 and everything. So I don't think I wasn't too worried going into after Q1.
Oh yeah, and I think early in the season we all recognized that we were planning to play all 4 qualifiers. So we knew that at least, having a solid top 8 run, that we were going to be in position pretty quickly to establish ourselves as finals contenders. Especially after this first run, and we were like, okay, pretty good. Obviously Loxay tripped us up, complete respect to them. But yeah, we immediately knew we were going to be able to participate in all 4 qualifiers. Obviously that's not what happened for other things that we'll talk about later, but yeah, we knew that this was a good sign at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
I guess then we'll move on to Q2. So we ran the same roster. Myself, Vapor, David, and Pork. So we had a little bit of... We still didn't get a lot of practice in, admittedly, with the 4 of us at that point. I think we got a little bit more, though. We weren't running on 2 games. We had a day of practice in 2 weeks. And on top of that, we had played Q1. So, a little practice there. Pull up. We are seated second consistently across the board. Very consistent until finals. We'll get to why. Again, though, we actually lose our... for the beginning, I think we are okay. We get a couple 2-1s. We get that revenge on Lokshay, by the way, which felt a little nice. No, not like we're dissing them. Just it was nice. Hey, they bested us in top 8 last time. We're gonna
click into that set real quick.
Huh? Yeah.
Click into that set real quick. Was that a reverse sweep?
I mean, 3 games. I hate to say reverse sweep, but technically, yes.
I know. I also hate. There you go. Yes, I hate to call best of 3s reverse sweeps as well, because it's yes, by definition it was, but it doesn't feel like a reverse sweep in the same way. It's nothing to gloat about in the same regards as a reverse sweep in a BO5 or BO7. But nonetheless, yes. So I remember, we lost that game 1, and if I recall, it was actually pretty close, and we just kind of locked in game 2, game 3 to bounce back from this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we come back on, by the way, Museum Clams, which is not one of our better maps. Mako Zones. If you were just to tell me, hey, you're playing Mako Zones, Clam Blitz, Museum, and TC Undertow, which map did you lose? I would have probably said Museum Clams. So on a map for us that we aren't great on, but we find ways to win sometimes. I say sometimes, I
was gonna say, that was probably one of our more dominant wins, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't look, or it was a dominant game, but usually we don't do well on that map. And so it was well, that's nice. We got the momentum. After losing the first one, we come back in, we win the TC Undertow 2, which just felt really, really good. But let me see, the score should be here. Hold on.
I was gonna say, is the score there?
No, there was no score points on this. It's not like SOS. It's just purely win-loss.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Swiss, they don't do score as a tiebreaker, only for round robin on Sendu. So.
Gotcha.
But we got the win on that. That felt nice. We lose to Retro. Retro takes us out back.
What?
They swept us in that one. This is our
first.
first loss in groups. I think it's the only loss in groups we had all season.
I was going to say, I think this is the only one. I think we go 4-0 in every other qualifier. So honestly, all the respect to Retro Records to not only beat us, but to sweep us. I think we kind of knew going into that set, though, that we were fine because we were 3-0. We had the tiebreakers. Usually, the tiebreakers are on your side if you start 3-0. The tiebreakers in Swiss stages tend to favor teams that start well, so that way it discourages the possible idea of sandbagging game 1 or set 1 and then trying to reverse your way back in by having an easier schedule. So yeah, starting 3-0 and then losing, I think we knew we were going to be fine.
But I want to tell everybody here, Sendu.Inc. tiebreakers are different. You know, this may be out, let's say you're watching this a month or two from now, it might be different. But right now, and as it sits for during this, is that tiebreakers were your first thing. If you've played opponent that were the same record, you would get boosted up if you've won. But this says -1. That's because that has been retroactively changed because they changed the site. But it used to be if we had played another 3-1 team and beat them, we'd be the top of 3-1s. And then it's games, then it's strength of schedule. So this column here, and every other site but Sendu is there. And it's a percentage on other sites. In this one, it's a raw count. Completely different than any other site. So if you have a Battlefy or a Start GG, it will be different. Of course, both of those have it where you can manipulate both of them to be different, but their base ones take percentage of a strength of schedule in a percentage. This one is a raw count. So by the way, if you face a drop team, you're at an absolute disadvantage in that one. But I don't want to go into this because I will rant about it. Makes me very angry. But so we weren't super secure in hindsight because we didn't realize that. We had thought that strength of schedule would be the first tiebreaker, but you can see it's not the first tiebreaker. If it was the first tiebreaker, we'd be second seed coming out of the group. Instead, we are fourth seed coming out of the group. So that mostly just wanted to point that out. That is a big difference. And actually, if Peace Strikers had not faced us, we would have been in silver bracket. You can see how Peace Strikers here is down there. Actually,
wait, were we actually the 8th seed going into?
No. Oh, you know what?
No, it was head to head. Yeah, so head to head was first. So yeah, because we beat
Okay, so no, we were second because we had the head to head over Peace Strikers. Yeah,
exactly.
So the retro change is throwing me off. I do apologize for that. So we had we were the second seed on the TB being a +1. But now since they've changed it and make it a -1, Peace Strikers actually looks like they're so low down. But I think they actually made the group too. Nope. Yeah, you can see they made it as well. So you can see the tiebreakers have changed, making this a little bit outdated this year. So they were probably there, and it looks like
84.
And we would be up here.
They had the hardest strength of schedule of the teams that were 3-1 outside of us.
So they would have been third out of the group, and then it would have been Manta Boat Fan Club, and then Spaghetti Carbonara would have been the first one out.
I think so.
Is what I think. Yeah, they're not here.
Because Manta Boat Fan Club did play. Yep.
Yeah. So that is a little bit of a change that because Sendu has changed the site, it recalculates it. So this isn't actually accurate anymore. Funny. But again, the tiebreaker system is different than anybody else, and luckily that head-to-head versus Peace Strikers did come well. And I'll tell you what, we were guaranteed it because we beat both Loxay and Peace Strikers, and they faced each other. So we were guaranteed the tie. Now I remember that. We felt very comfortable because we knew that this happened. No matter what, we were guaranteed to have the tiebreaker of 1 on the head, which is like there's no chance that 3 other teams have this. It was like as long as we were pretty much guaranteed it at that point, win or loss, and obviously we got second out of our group for that. When we actually remembered how that Sendu changed.
So part of it was probably just us going up against Retro Records. We were probably just like a little too comfortable.
Yeah, and again, also looking at weapon comps too, Because if you look at everyone else we played, we've played against very aggressive teams before Retro Records, where Retro plays very similar to us, a more passive, special base play style, where a lot of those more aggro teams are more hold forward. So we weren't ready for that quick switch between 3 rounds against very aggressive teams into something like this.
Yeah. They pretty much, as you said, are pretty much an identical playstyle to us, with slightly tweak weapon-wise. They have like a Dynamo instead of an Expo. They have a Barrage. I forget the rest of the weapons off the top of my head. But also the players, even with the weapons they kind of play a little bit more passively. So, they play a completely they play very similar to us. But anywho, we jump back into Gold Bracket, which doesn't have 9 teams, which we will get to later with Q1. We're going to talk a lot about Q1, so in its weirdness. But yeah, look, we get to face the Cafeteria, which they take care of business with us there too. We literally go from aggro teams to the one that is identical to us to high aggro again, which Cafeteria are probably the most aggro of the four aggro-y teams we played, I'd say.
And also, if we want to go back to something that David mentioned earlier, this is the only set in this top 8 bracket where both teams are at the place where they should be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every single team, with the exception of Chocolate Milk, was not seeded to fall into Gold Bracket.
Yep.
So shout outs to all these teams technically upsetting their seed. So
for
really
sure.
Well done.
Yeah, it's just that unfortunate that people kind of were looking at why is TZS choking or not performing well or whatever, and at the end of the day, yes, we should win these games. I always the simple answer is just win forehead, right? But no, even when you look at it, we are drawing what realistically should be the hardest possible matchup for us in these positions. So it's not that we're necessarily getting falling into these crazy upsets or anything like that. We're getting into highly competitive matches and getting edged out. So the Cafeteria obviously sweeps us here. That's just we were not ready for it. But thanks, Mewtwo.
And then him creeping upward, that just made it better. Edge, getting closer to the camera.
So point being that we're drawing probably some of the toughest matchups in these top 8s, at least within these first 2 qualifiers. So I think we all were collectively I don't want to say disappointed. I think we all knew that we could do better, and we knew we were going to do better. But we just kind of knew that it's okay. It sucks, but it's okay. We lost to good quality teams, and we know we're this is all just in the hunt for the big picture.
Both teams, by the way, that would make top 12 in the end. Loxay and
did Loxay make top 12?
Did they not?
I think they were just outside.
I think they were
made it.
Hold on.
I think Loxay was just outside.
Oh no, they were just outside. You're right. This is the official ending, by the way. We'll get into this sheet later, but since I have it handy and this is the official thing, Joe, Loxay just outside. But of course, we also at that point we lost, and then we lose Cafeteria again. They end up finishing 7th overall. So yeah, we were a little disappointed in that, but we knew, hey, we still plan to come into 2. We're in a really good spot. We were already pretty comfortable. Chalky Milk has shown they've already won 2. They already are hey, we have to beat those guys sometime.
Because I think the funny thing here as well is that if we advance, let's say we beat Cafeteria, we've beaten Manta Boat Fan Club before, so I think we would have obviously we can say it. We don't know what the reality would have been, but I think we would have been in those finals against Chocolate Milkshake. So us throwing against Cafeteria was a bit of a missed opportunity to once again play Chocolate Milkshake.
And we would have had probably three or four decent maps for us here too. I'd probably say the worst one is Clams B&D. Obviously, we're still working on it a lot in this point. But TC Ship Shape we're really good on. Scorch Rainmaker, Zones Mahi we're pretty good at, and Hagglefish I would probably say that's the second weakest for us there, and I don't think we're horrendous on it by any means, especially with a more passive comp like that. But all we can do is speculate at that point. Nonetheless, I mean, by transitive property though, Manta Boat Fan Club or whatever it is, it's cut off on my side, so I can't quite catch it.
Yeah, it's Manta Boat Fan Club.
They beat Cafeteria head to head, so by transitive property they beat us. So
fair enough.
I know you're math tutor. I gotta get you on that one.
Yeah, can't argue against math.
I can.
Anything else we want to say about Q2 before we slide into Q3?
7, 5. No, I don't know.
He's
7,
doing
7.
he's doing some mental math there.
You can hear the thinking going on, the gears turning as Mewtwo is clearly playing Balatro in the middle of
The one brain cell is doing the DVD thing. Dink, dink. Every time it hits a side, one process works. Dink. Oh, 7 plus 7 is 14. Dink. Oh, 21 if you had another 7. Dink. Like. And so Q3 we had a very different team comp going into it. We went from no aggros to oops all aggros. Pretty much. I mean, not necessarily.
Was this the one Mewtwo and Pepe were in, me and Vapor out?
Yep.
Yep. This was the day with that overlapped with the CCA.
We'll talk about some CCA later. But we destroyed our group. Just saying, Mewtwo. We destroyed our group that day. 12-0.
Well, you want me to agree, or?
I was hoping you would. I mean, we're 12-0. We didn't drop a single game.
No, we stomped them. Yeah.
Wow. No, I mean.
This was the one that was kind of wacky because there was 2-4 no teams.
Yeah, this is what happens when you don't do Swiss the way that everybody else does Swiss. Send you, please.
There's 16 teams too. There was 16 teams, so there should never, in a 16-team Swiss, there should never be 2-4 no teams. Like, I remember looking at this and being like, damn, like, poor Amora, like, I think got screwed, Amora and Retro Records got screwed out of gold bracket because they played us when they should have played each other.
Yeah. That's, yeah, that's a pretty frustrating thing. Swiss... I like Sendu for every other thing but Swiss right now. It's the only type of bracket I can't say you should run on Sendu right now. Just because it needs to be adjusted. But knowing Sendu and knowing that teams are going and giving them feedback, like I know the Low Ink team was supposed to go give them feedback. I was talking with him about it. Me and Helen were talking on the slide, and I talked about all these different issues that we're talking about now. So I know the Low Ink team's going to take it because they had same thing. A lot of tiebreakers are just janky that they didn't want. They ran with the results that existed for Low Ink, but hopefully in the long term, this conversation will be mute. So, but yeah, but that is caused partly by the fact you can see how the 2 and 18 seeds are facing, and then the 1 and 6, the 16 and 32. So the way that it's prioritizing it's prioritizing based on seed and prioritizing based on record makes it that occasionally you can have it where you have 2-4-0 teams,
which I do want to give it credit. Like after round 1, that is how Swiss is supposed to work. But with round 1, it should be opposite.
It should be a snake.
Yep.
Yes. round 1 should always be Snake. Round 2 is a split in half.
Yep. And you can see that is partly what caused it, and it's partly because what was the team? It was Lunar Eclipse. They're down here at 14, so their seed is kind of weird. If their seed, I think, had been proper, it wouldn't cause that problem. But it's because they're so low that it can cause that problem. The two 2-0 or the 2-4-0 teams were so far apart that it can cause that problem. Where if we had been closer, like a seed off, I think technically it can happen, but I would have to run a lot of math, and I'm too lazy. But yeah, groups, I don't really have too much to say. We took out some decent teams. Good old our friends over at the Big Fat Sea Cows. Neptune wasn't there. Shaming Neptune. Why were you at a land, Neptune? We could have played, bro. Could have played Neptune. It's fine.
Okay, we got to beat up the others on Neptune's behalf.
Just shout outs to Neptune. We love Neptune. And really all of Big Fat Sea Cows. I love them all. But I just wanted to troll Neptune because there's a chance that Neptune is watching. I haven't seen him say anything, but you never know. Wavebreaker, not a bad team by any means. New Wave, not a bad team. Amora, none of them are at any means in the SAC group. They're all pretty up there. I think all of them were pretty close to making it in. I don't think any of them made it into top 12. Nope. No, but a lot of them ended up playing pretty well overall. You can see Big Fat Sea Cows there. I can't find them all of a sudden. Any of the teams we were looking at. New Wave, that ended up being the only one they got, but they still got 100 points. So they play one more, they're in, assuming they can get a top 8 again. So like, the teams we're facing, if they had played more, some of it is just they didn't play enough. Amora, they only got 50 points, so it looks like they didn't do very well in the silver bracket. But like they again only played one, but they played us well, so I don't want to say too much on that. It wasn't exactly our hardest schedule of any of our groups, but by any means it wasn't like a pushover group. So, but again, gold bracket, we find ourselves taking some L's. We take Myopsidus down, which was a team that did make
did they make top 12?
Yes, they did. They had a pretty good run in finals too. Actually, they qualified 5th.
Good on Myopsidus.
Yeah. So they ended up playing. They did well in finals too. They've had a really good winner side. The loser side, I think, was a little disappointing for how well they ran winners. I think they dropped out of losers pretty quickly. I think they were the ones that fought Chalky Milkshake before we fought Chalky Milkshake. So they beat out a couple solid teams before dropping in losers. I think just kind of dropping out really quickly. But we'll confirm that later. But Myopsis we take down. And then Helios, though, another one is just really close set.
Yeah, we lose to a 7 seed once again.
The 7 seed curse.
Yeah. We lost our 7 seed every single time.
We finished every single event on a 7 seed.
Oh my god.
All 4 events we play in, we finish on a 7 seed.
Was the cafeteria also a 7 seed?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. Oops, all 7s.
Oops.
We actually got the Kraken Mirror code in SAC. Lose to the 7 seed, lose to the 7 seed, lose to the 7 seed. Oh, 777, Now I guess we hit the jackpot, and now we get the 4th 7, which is a victory.
Which, by the way, other than in finals, we were the 2nd seed, so we should face the 7th seed there too. So it's just funny. We faced
maybe it was a good thing. Yeah,
the one time
that was a good thing actually.
And face the 7th seed, we win, but we'll get to that. It took us not to be the 2nd seed. That's all it was. 2nd seed is cursed.
Yeah, either the 2nd seed curse or the 7th seed curse. We'll figure out which one it is.
No, it's the 2nd seed curse. When we get to finals, it'll show it's the 2nd seed curse. We'll get to that. But Helios takes us out there. Zones Mahi, that one I was a little disappointed. I think we could have gotten that one. But again, we win Clams Museum. Again, another one that we felt just I don't feel like I feel like we play better on it than it feels. Admittedly, for me, I absolutely despise this and never feels good, but I feel like I do well on it, kind of thing. So I think maybe the rest of the team, I guess we all kind of play well on it.
I was gonna say, because I do think that between like myself, Mewtwo, and Pepe, like I think the three of us actually feel good on Clamlets Museum. I know Pork also feels really good on Clamlets Museum usually. So I think that's mainly a you two kind of thing, Kraken and Vapor. It's the obviously you don't vibe with it, but I think you both do well on it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my weapon just naturally does well on it.
Yes, exactly.
I hate the map, but my weapon just naturally does well on it, so I never do awful. Suppose
I've had to put a lot of effort into that map in particular to be okay on it. I'll be honest with you, because my weapon does is the opposite. It's awful on that map. Yeah. I had to put a lot of effort in, but I feel like the results, are pretty good. We got mincemeat. Woo!
Finally.
I think that, and then we get Haggle. That one we were like, shit. That one was one. I think the three we lost, the one that I think we were most disappointed on. And then it's like crab leg zones are like, fuck. That one. Go back and watch the VOD. Yeah, it was not a good time.
I remember watching that one on stream because I think CCA just finished
after CCA ended. CCA ended in the middle of that fourth game, or at the very tail end of it.
We mentally shot ourselves in the foot before we played on this one, and yeah. So I mean, we shot ourselves in the foot and took ourselves out of contention to not put down Helios in any way because they played really well, but we definitely didn't help ourselves in a map that we have disadvantage on, and it came back to bite us. We lose that set. Mind you, at least, hey, we got more points on the board. One of our just standard top 8s get cut down into 50%, and we're increasing our points. So we're like, hey, you know what? We feel pretty good.
Still a very much net positive. And just a real quick side note on the crab leg thing. Given that we are TZS, I do want to again encourage that more map mode diversity in tournaments is a good thing. We will forever stand by it. We will just collectively shit on crab leg splat zones. So, but like, I don't want to discourage TOs from utilizing, necessarily like, crab leg zones if they're looking to spice up a tournament. I will fully support it. I just think that there are better spice picks to go with.
Give us flatter zones.
Exactly. So, but I do appreciate the flavor that was brought to this map list by the inclusion of Rainmaker Mincemeat and Splat Zone's crab leg.
I think there was another one that was decently spicy too. I have to go back and check the map list.
There was, but I'd have to check it too. Those were the only two I specifically remember.
That's too much effort. I'll find it later.
I will look for it.
If you can find it, that would be helpful. I figure that's just. But then we still have third place match. We win third place match pretty decisively against Lunar Eclipse. We played that one angry at ourselves, and we took it out on them, and hey, we were mad at ourselves. We felt we shouldn't have lost to Helios. Again, not a shot at Helios, just a shot at ourselves that we felt we could have done better. And we let ourselves down from the beginning. We got ourselves mentally down, and we just couldn't bring ourselves mentally there. And in this one, we played angry. We were like, why did we lose? Come on, let's get back into it. And then I'm sorry, Luna Eclipse, you kind of got that one. Mind you, they played us well. We just we were not losing that one.
Was it Umami Clamlets? I guess that would be the
no.
Like that's probably the next spiciest one on the list because the rest of them are actually pretty standard.
Okay, I thought there was one more. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll admit
It's
that.
the
I
only
was
one
wrong.
that's like slightly like different.
Interesting. Also, I love how none of us pinged that we were live on this in our own server. Guys, why didn't we
Oh,
do
we're
that?
so smart.
We are smart.
Someone want to do that real quick?
I got it. I got it.
Thank you. I say I don't have the link handy. I just realized I have to find it. But yeah, Q3. We were gonna go. So I think this is where we jump into why we had the asterisk of we were planning to play all four. Sendu Q. We had qualified for the Sendu Q major. That I guess we can go back to this view for a little bit.
We definitely talked about
Close, nice and close again.
We definitely talked about more about the Sendu event on our last podcast as well, episode 1. So we can look into, or you guys could go watch that up on Kraken's YouTube to get more of our in-depth ideas with how we felt going through that event in particular.
Yeah, but that one ended up falling on it, and admittedly a qualifier where we had guaranteed ourselves into the finals, or as major, Sendu major. Which one are we gonna pick? Fairly, I think we picked that one. Of course, if we didn't have to, we would have picked Q4, Q4 over anything else, just because we wanted to up our position, and it would have pretty much locked us into the second seed. I can pull up in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll pull back up the points. But prior to that, the only team that realistically could catch us was Retro Records. And assuming Chalky Milkshake played it all, we weren't going to catch them. And so as long as we put up some points, Retro Records wasn't going to probably really catch us either. As long as we got top 8, they weren't going to really catch us. But because
we were in no man's land on the leaderboard.
Though,
in the way,
because we didn't play, Retro Records did end up catching us. Credit to them. Yes. They ended up they tied for the highest position they did, which was 3rd place. So they got a 3rd place in Q4. And so they caught us by 40 points. So again, if we would have had a top 8 or higher, we would have gotten 50 points or more, and we would have stayed at 2nd place. But with that, we fall to 3rd place seeding wise. But we got a much more we got a lot of value out of playing in the major, and
for sure. Yeah,
I
think that the important thing to kind of take away from that, at least the standing in the leaderboard at that point, was that us and Chocolate Milkshake were the only 2 teams up to that point that had made the top 8 in every single qualifier.
Yeah,
like it was just us 2. No other team had made it more than twice. I think honestly, like there was only maybe 1 or 2 other teams that had made it twice before up to that point as well. So we basically knew we were locked in, because I think there was, like, we did the math and there was in theory like 8 teams that could catch us, but it was impossible for all 8 of them to catch us.
Yeah.
So we knew that we were likely to drop at most 2 spots. We ended up dropping 1 spot, which even better for us. I like the idea of being a 3 seed in this instance, as opposed to a 4 seed. So I was pretty happy with it. Like we crunched all the numbers and everything. I remember we kind of were sifting through it all. We realized, okay, we are very much fine. Like no one's gonna be able to knock us out of top 12. No one's gonna be able to knock us out of top 4. Unless some crazy stuff happened. So we felt pretty comfortable.
Way. Yeah. And even then, to an extent, seed doesn't matter as long as you make the dance. If you make the dance, you have a shot at it. It may suck if you're the 12th seed, you have to go face the number 1 seed off the bat instead of facing them, say, in winners finals if you're the 2nd or 3rd seed. But it's like, especially 2nd and 3rd doesn't really mean much, assuming that you can beat anyone that is below you seed wise. Because 2nd and 3rd, you're taking the same path with the exception of the first 2 rounds. You're going to facing a different team than normally. And it's only, 1 round? Yeah, 1 round. Because it's a 12 seed thing and not a 16 team. You only have 1 round. You're facing a one you would have faced where the 2nd seed was. instead of it just one round, and then you face, assuming the second seed moves on and third seed move on, you face each other in the next round anyway. So it just changes one opponent for the second and third seed. So not a big thing. And technically fourth seed as well, just one opponent. You just change your opponent. The only difference is that second round you would face then the one seed instead of the one you were going to face anyway. So whether or not we were second or third didn't change too much realistically. But like we still had a pretty interesting finals. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up now. We'll switch over to the other, back to where you can see the bracket. So like if we were the second seed, we have Retro Records here facing the cafeteria, we would have been there. That's the only difference. That ended up being we faced Free Flow instead in our first round.
Yeah. Looking at this, like, because to be honest, like because of the CCA finals, I was not looking at the bracket all that much to be quite honest, but looking at this, yeah, like we actually had probably the teams that could hang with us most in our section of bracket. Because I see Retro Records, the Cafeteria, and Free Flow as all like teams that are like, trying to like, chomp at the bit here, like, just trying to reach our ankles and actually, being really, these are the types of teams that are nuisances to us. So the fact that we kind of got that collection of 3 teams in our section of bracket and just, we're able to lose only 1 game to 2 of them combined. That's pretty good.
Well, remember we played 3 sets. We played Cafeteria twice. So we played them in 3 games amongst those 3 teams you mentioned. We only lost 1 game. Yeah,
because the Cafeteria, Retro Records were both teams that beat us in qualifiers, and then Free Flow always gives us a run for our money.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, the biggest surprise to me was Helios here. Actually, My Opsidus. Remember we talked about My Opsidus makes a really good run. This is the start of the run here. They take out Helios, and I'll tell you what, I think a lot of people had Helios as one of the teams, probably top 4 in this event, even though they were coming in as a 12th seed. It's because they won 1 event, and that's the only thing they did, is they played 1 event, and they beat Chalky Milkshake in that. So if I slide it over to, it's this one, right? The one we lost to them, they beat Chocolate Milkshake. And so everyone's like, holy shit, they are the team, they might be the actual team to beat over Chalky Milkshake, who has won 2 of the 3 qualifiers at that point. Neither team showed up to this one. So it's a little bit different in our gold bracket compared to a lot of the other ones, which feels bad for Astral Aces, by the way. That's the only event they run in. They lose on tiebreaker, the team versus pickup tiebreaker. We'll talk a little bit that, I think, eventually too. But like big here, like, so everyone's like, man, Helios is going to play so well. We think they're going to do well. And we warmed up scrim with them too. As Pepe pointed out in the chat. Thank you, Pepe. We warmed up scrim, and they weren't by any means like a pushover in the warm up either. And My Opsidus comes out, wins that 3-2 against them. And then Helios actually drops here, loses again. And so it's like that was like a big, like, what the fuck? Like, to me.
Wait, so Pepe's in the chat right now?
Oh no! Yes,
yes, me too. Pepe's been in the chat.
Shout out Pepe in the chat. Shout out Pepe. He's always a team member. Shout out Pepe.
Shout out Pepe. I agree. But talking about My Opsidus here, you can see they also face Lunar Eclipse, which Lunar Eclipse is a solid team there with like Fox for the CCA folk. Not watch CCA. Fox is VCU. Yes.
Yes, correct.
So they have a good run. They get My Opsidus upsets them, and then of course they lose to Chocolate Milkshake. But that's a good run by My Opsidus. So shout outs to them. Going through Helios again, a team that I think I personally had in my top 4. Same. Upsetting them right off the bat in a 3-2. So a nice close set, getting another solid team in Lunar Eclipse. So that shout outs to them on that losers run. But
the minute I saw Helios join, I was like, my first impression was, oh crap. because Helios is a really good team, and like we go toe to toe with them whenever we get the privilege of playing against them. So like I knew there was going to be a fun competition, and obviously the one match we got to play against them was good. It was a full 5-game series. So I wish that we got to see them again, because playing against Helios is always a lot of fun. But yeah, my first impression was, oh crap, yeah, these guys are going to be top 4 for sure.
Neptune, you got referenced to earlier. Welcome with your new PC. I had to shout out Neptune on that.
Yo, Neptune's in the stream chat right now. Shout out Neptune. Shout out Neptune in the stream chat right now. Shout out Neptune watching the stream.
Who muted him?
Good call. I think that was Vapor.
Yeah, fucking unmute me before I say something inappropriate.
I think that's more reason to mute you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I thought I was still muted. Anyways, shout out Pepe and Neptune in the Twitch chat right now. Always.
Okay, anyways,
shout out everyone here, but y'all are awesome. But anywho, so I think free flow we take care of well. Admittedly, free flow likes to take games off us usually. For like our Ludi set, it was what, a 5-3.
Something like that, yeah.
So they've taken off games from us before. I think they've even won a set or two against us in some random different tournaments. But we take care of business with free flow. On B&D being one of the maps, and then but honestly, that lineup is pretty favorable to us. We got Ship Shape Zones and Humpback Rainmaker, two of our, I would say, better maps. And
is this pure counterpicks?
Yes.
Yeah. So they counterpick right into our hand, pretty hard. They don't know that, but they counterpick right into our hand with Rainmaker, Humpback. We're just like, that's thank you. That was literally like our second number 2 pick or something like that we wanted. It was our highest Rainmaker choice. By the way, only Rainmaker game we play the entire tournament. And then we run into zones B and D, and we're like, we worked on this a lot, because this is the point. Where we talked about B and D earlier, especially Clams B and D being a struggle. Barnacle and Dime zones we were better at, but we still worked on it a lot. And so we were like, well, this is a good chance that we'll see if our practice kind of worked out, and I think it really did. They just happened to pick the wrong choices when it came to counter picks. Mew, how are you feeling at that point?
About what?
After free flow and everything, how are you feeling? A little quiet over there, and that scares me.
Free flow. He's playing Belatra, that's why.
That's why. Okay.
And like, how do I feel after being free flow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be pissed if we lost, because we were like one of the favorites to win, for real. And so going into it, I wasn't afraid of no goddamn team, because me,
okay.
I didn't give a shit, because I hate Splatoon. I hate Splatoon with all my being, all my fire.
Don't we all? We're all just here because we're good at the video game. We don't actually enjoy the video game.
I hate the I'm just kidding.
This is why we all. This is totally why none of us TO commentate. Yeah.
We're just stuck.
The only reason I play is because of one man and one man only. His name is Pepe. Shout out Pepe in the stream chat. But like I said, I just be doing that shit for real. Like, I wasn't afraid at all. Yeah. Because I knew we were one of the strongest teams in the damn tournament. Mm-hmm. So why should I be afraid? I have no reason to be afraid. Because if I was afraid, then that's weakness, and I can't show weakness to these motherfuckers. Because then they're gonna use it against me like a Twitter user bringing up tweets from 5 years ago. Can't be doing that shit for real. So what I'm trying to get at.
Don't look at his Twitter. That's what he's trying to get at.
Mewtwo's happy that Elon hit those likes.
Oh my god.
We can still see what he's liking on the TZS account.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all log into the TZS account.
And then we have to go unlike what he liked. It's not that bad, I promise.
What I
We're
like
just
is
trolling.
good shit, though, for real. Like you guys should see it, and then you can.
God.
Yeah, this is-
No.
Yeah, no, sorry. I made the mistake of opening up the TZS likes.
Is it bad again? I just cleared it.
There was a recent one from
Oh no.
a drawing of a character in a maid outfit.
Oh. Okay.
Not the main.
Honestly, I don't remember what I like, so I don't.
That makes it worse, bud.
No, it just
Bro.
shows.
Hey, I mean that just fits the Splatoon thing. Remember, cat maids were a big thing here in
Octoling
Splatoon.
Rosalina? Octoling Rosalina?
Octoling Rosalina.
Oh
Damn,
my.
I need to see what I like because that sounds fun.
Alright.
Who's Cynthia?
Oh, from Pokemon?
I don't know. Maybe I don't recognize character. Yeah, it does have hashtag Pokemon. Yes.
David does not respect women.
I regret opening this up
All
now.
right,
Name
let's,
a
let's
woman,
get let's
David.
get
Name
back
a
to
woman.
Let's
get back
move
to
on.
Name
Let's
a
move on.
SAC because we are already
We
an
have an
hour
hour
into
left.
this.
We're already an hour in.
Yeah.
There might be a chance we have to cut a topic and bring it into the new year at this point.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what your guys' New Year's resolutions are.
Let's
That's a
get to
great
that.
question
again,
for
to
the
that
January
later.
podcast.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a
The
good
New
one.
Year's podcast.
Good idea, YouTube. Put it in the podcast.
There is gonna be no
suggestion channel.
January podcast.
Mewtwo's gonna get us canceled by then.
It's gonna be our
Oh,
last.
I thought he was about to throw it back real quick, like trying to.
Let's not. No, Mew, please.
No.
Oh,
We're not
Then
Pepe
don't
at
say
the
nothing,
land.
then. Bro, if you don't want me to do it, then don't say it.
Love you,
All right.
Pepe.
Let's move on. We have an hour until event time.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll play Splatoon or something in an hour at SOS. Hold on, let me check us in real quick.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, hold on, that's not the right one. 72.
But we get the live check-in.
We're checked in.
Error.
Bro, you checked us in. You gave
Let's
me an
go.
error message on my screen.
That makes it even more funny.
Anyways,
SOS,
so
we'll check
back
in.
to the bracket.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's talk about the game one loss.
We had just felt good about Barnacle and Dime Zones, only to not feel good about Barnacle and Dime Zones.
Mhm.
No, it wasn't that you guys did feel good about it.
Oh,
It was
the DC.
Nintendo did not feel good about it.
That's
Yeah.
right, we were cooking. That's right.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. So this is the one we talked
At
earlier
the-
about. Pork playing one game. This is the one game he DC's midway through, and so you can see, yeah, Pork is here. Pork.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't change it. Why didn't I change it? Oh, I'm usually good about that. Oh well.
Yeah. You didn't change it until the next set.
Yeah, that's right. It didn't really matter because it's not ranked, so I think I just kind of forgot. But
Mhm.
Pork is in this one. DC's midway through. We are in a really good position. Cafeteria comes back though,
With-
takes us out.
With zone control, just got the lead as the disconnect happened too.
Yeah, we're in a pretty good spot. Happened a little later, but at the end of the day, things happen. We move on.
Mhm.
But
In
with
the end, we
that,
should have won the 3v4, but we didn't.
with this, we call the homie Vapor and say, "Hey, we need you."
dragging me out of CCA finals.
Which,
Yeah.
luckily
You're
enough,
welcome.
Vapor and I made the decision to have me stream as opposed to Vapor for twofold reason. One, because of PSU internet, and two, because we recognized that if someone needed to come in clutch to sub in for SAC finals, Vapor made more sense than myself. So we just said, you know what, that's good enough reason. I'll take over mainstream day one, so Vapor can be stream coordinator for the first hour and a half, which was perfect because we had the tournament started an hour later and we had a round one bye, so we still got Vapor over at the CCA for an hour and a half
More than that. It
and
was
some
close to
change.
2
Really,
hours.
yeah, 2
It was
hours
close to 2.
before y'all dragged them. So thank you for at least keeping allowing Vapor to stay with us until you absolutely needed him 2 hours in.
By the way, so you guys were all but one group in round 4 was done, right, Vapor?
Yeah.
So like it was pretty much
that
over.
time, all of round 4 except for one division was seeded.
Oh, good.
And for reference, CCA did a really weird finals, a unique. I shouldn't say weird because it was just a unique style of the way that it. So there's a lot of manual work to it, and it was the first time doing it. So having Vapor there is very beneficial, just because he understood it and helped the others for the first couple rounds, and then the last one can pretty much run itself. So that actually worked out really, really good. More than just, hey, it's nice to have him for 4 rounds. Like, hey, we're doing a weird, unique thing. We need him for as long as we can, and that worked out really nicely.
We're not going to comment on the. Okay, we'll keep going.
Yes.
What did we mute you a moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
popping
you're
off, bro. I'm popping
Love
off.
you.
My
Love you
feet.
too.
Suck later, David.
Pepe, you're beating me
Let's
to
keep
it. I
going.
was just about to point it out. The TC Inkblock game. We counterpicked that, and we're like, we're gonna go with the classic, the TC Inkblock. And I'll tell you what. Let's just say the first half, we were getting cooked in the first half. It's that meme. We were getting cooked in the first half. They scored it to 96, so 4 remaining. We did not look good.
2 remaining.
2 remaining?
2 remaining.
Okay. Either way, we're getting our ass cooked. And it was not looking good. We were not meshing the way it was. Just didn't feel things, didn't vibe right. Halfway through, things just click right into place. And we start changing the game. Mind you, we weren't like pushing crazily hard, but we were finally we stopped being on defense for the first 2.5 minutes. So we start to come back into that. And then at the end, we still hadn't broken second checkpoint yet, and we're in overtime. OT has not broken second checkpoint. As Vapor pointed out, they scored 98 points, and we're like, fuck. Because they had like strikes and everything. They pop them just a hair early. Everything works out. We're just coasting. We're coasting.
Yeah.
It was.
I am trying to grab the stream clip.
It is.
Really?
It looks really, really bad. Still, looks like we're still gonna lose it. We just pull out the game. We get that one in a heartbreaking fashion. The cafeteria had to be. We win that one. Is huge. Just kind of get our momentum in, and a big comeback.
When you guys told me about that game, you're like, especially when we got to finals later, and you're like, hey, perfect, like we already came back against them on Tower Control Inkblot. I was like, oh, awesome, and I went to go watch it back, this particular game, and when I was watching it back, I was like, okay, saw them pushing. I'm like, okay, this push will probably end right around 20-ish points, and then they kept pushing, and I'm like, these idiots said that they won this game, right?
For long enough,
Yeah.
Stay in.
So the entire time I'm watching this, I'm like, how are these guys coming back from this? Because I'm pretty sure they said they came back and won. Because I'm watching this and 11 seconds left in the game, and I'm like, they got this all the way down to 2. Like, I was still surprised. I knew the outcome, and I was still on the edge of my seat, trying to figure out what on earth happened.
Yeah.
So here,
was.
I'll bring up the clip. Everyone
They
should be able to
still
hear
have
it.
Quite a distance to
Yes.
go here with that tower. They're going to
turn
need to
it up a
start
little
getting
bit
some
for you
picks.
guys.
And obviously, this is not the situation.
God, I
Wait a
hate
second,
having
this
a
is the
crush on a girl
situation you
that-
want to see.
So we get the
That's just
wipeout. Just
Splashdown.
Pepe jumps in. Let me go back a little bit on this.
Pepe, though,
Mhm.
not going to be the
I was
one
gonna
left.
say,
So look at this.
Yeah.
was
So 8 seconds remaining. We're down a person. They have strikes. They have bubble, and we have splashdown. That is what we have. I'm gonna get whales as well, but
Hey,
What?
To go here with that tower.
They're
wanna
trying
let
to
you
they
know
we go
that.
down 2.
Picks, and
Strikes come in
obviously this
early.
is not the
Vapor
Wait a second,
splashdowns.
this is the situation.
Trades. But look, there's nobody on this tower. There's literally nobody existing. Pepe has just jumped in time.
Situation you want to
Here
see.
comes Pepe.
That's just going to be Pepe a lockdown trigger for himself, and luckily
So
having
we
that
are
jump in
so
there,
down.
Pepe though,
We
not
had-
going to be the one wanting to ride that tower.
They
He's gonna
had
have
the
to move up a little
GGs
bit farther.
ready.
Does see that
We
DK
able to
staying
survive
alive,
it.
is able to make it
Pepe
out
jumps in,
alive.
gets
Zuka's
an
gonna come out,
assist
end of
plus
the trade.
1.
Vapor's riding that tower,
plus
but still,
kill.
this has to be a
We
knockout.
clean this
Zach.
up.
Yeah, Vapor gonna be staying on the tower,
And
trying
we're
to
just-
avoid the
It's
suction
Joe
bomb.
over here.
Mewtwo's gonna get
They're
enough to build
panicking.
up
Mewtwo
his Zuka. They are
cleans
gonna get the
up
full
some
wipe
stuff.
out, and the splash down
And
to
we
seal
win
it.
this
It's gonna be the knockout in
in an
overtime. as they
amazing
clinch
comeback
it.
fashion.
Triggerfish zone supremacy.
wanna say I got a
comes roaring
triple
back.
before
They were
the start of
waning
overtime,
seconds
so
of this
you're
one, which
fucking
came down at
welcome.
one point
That
to
Vapor
a
just had to kill one
1v1,
guy.
which involved their last member
It's big.
Yeah.
jumping to the tower
I-
and staying
that was
alive. That was
like
epic.
honestly, it's even crazier watching it back again now because I didn't even realize how close you all were to losing that because I think things there were more or less frame perfect in terms of getting Pepe to jump in and then you guys respawn fast enough to be able to get the jump ins and Pepe reads that very well. He doesn't even wait for you all to land on the tower, sees someone approaching and holds forward knowing that you all are going to take care of the objective. So I think overall you could not have asked for better just implicit team play. I would have to go see the communication, but I think those are the type of moves that are made without necessarily communicating it. And that's only possible when you play together for 2-3 years. So
And
So,
shout out
yeah,
to
that-
them,
that
I didn't do
was-
too much in that. I got like one pick in all that. So shout out to the other three. They carried that. Big plays.
you hear that, Mewtwo? You carried that.
What? You're damn right. I'm taking a break from the Lotro, bro. I had a heartbreaking run ender, and now I'm thinking about the girl I have a crush on, bro.
All right.
After that, though, I
Man,
think we kinda
that
take-
is for the February edition of the podcast. Valentine's
is.
Day special.
hopefully they'll be his girlfriend by then. Instead
Bro,
of
I
just this
said
crush
that-
that he refuses to talk to.
I said that we're not even gonna make it to January. I don't know why we're talking about February. Like January doesn't exist.
Oh God.
Shout out Pepe in the chat.
Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. We have 45 minutes. Let's keep going.
We haven't even
We're not
talked
gonna
about
get to
this.
CCA
What are we gonna
at this
talk about
rate.
now? We're gonna talk about CCA real quick. I'll
Let's
lead the
finish this
discussion.
event.
So
Let's finish the
with
event.
this,
Let's keep
we
going.
kind of take care of business with the next two pretty well. Not that it was just a
Yeah.
pushover again, but we handled them pretty well on their counter picks at that point. Mind you,
Yep.
Clam Blitz Crab Legs was one of them, and we are not good in Crab Legs, so that was a good counter pick against us.
Yep.
TC
And
Hagel
then that
was
was-
okay, but like that Crab Legs one is a good choice against us, and we took care of business.
It's crazy how that was probably our most dominant bracket win. Cause we just after we started scoring, they just could not stop it.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We KO'd them. We just ran up the score. They
Yeah,
scored first.
we ran
We
a train
100
through
to
it,
0
for real.
dude. On
All-
Crab
all-
Legs.
Wow.
All the Clan Blitz games we played in this finals set, in this finals bracket, we got the 100 to 0 in all of those Clan Blitz matches.
Which
Wow.
is insane to think about, because Clan Blitz is the hardest one to score on of any mode, I think. At least
Oh
big.
yeah, we did. Yeah, fucking hell.
Insane
Crazy to think about
to
it.
do that. That
'Cause,
takes a
I
lot of
fucking-
teamwork, and I'll tell you what, I really like that with the, I guess we'll kind of stay on that Crab Legs one, is I pretty much ran clams on that one, me and you, Vapor, but when, I don't know if it was Moo or Pepe, one of them went down in the front near the end, I'm like, just stay up there, because you were already on the next level and I was getting clams, just stay up there and help them, because I can get the 5 clams or whatever remaining. And so you kind of replaced whoever died. And so we had two people, for that entire time, me and you were getting clams, Moo and Pepe were literally spawn camping all 4 of them.
Yeah, we were holding it down. That was more or less Pepe, though, to be real. But I was getting my licks in too. But that was honestly Mr. PP. Shout out Mr. PP in chat, man. He's always so supportive of us.
And then one of them went down. I don't recall who it was. We do that flex there, and that's just the team coordination. Hey, switch. I can get clams. We can get the KO. And we 100-0 that, and that's just huge. Just mwah, big W there, I think.
And my body block on the sword that I was trying to dash onto you.
It works. But I think I want to talk, because we have so little time, because we've talked a lot about SAC. I don't think we're going to talk about any other topic other than SAC. We're going to have to roll this back next week, guys. We might not talk about CCA and pickup culture.
Well, good thing all of us are going to be celebrating Christmas with absolutely fucking nobody, so we could do it the Christmas podcast
Christmas
episode.
Oh my god.
What'd you guys do for Christmas?
I will be
did the
busy
TZS
for
podcast.
Christmas.
You
Do
want
the
to change
day
that?
after, at least make it the day after Christmas. But this set, we is huge. This is the first set, by the way. We faced Chocolate Milk, the #1 seed, the entire season. Us who had been basically the second seed until Retro Records jumps us at the end because of the us not playing the last one and then them playing really well. So credit to them. We straight up lose 2 in a row. Our first 2 against them, Hagglefish pretty solidly domination of us. I ain't gonna lie. They took care of business against us. We make some adjustments on TC Inkbot, but they still get the W on that.
They did.
We were making adjustments the entire time. And it's just small tweaks, because we weren't all like horribly off, but it felt like we just needed to make those couple small tweaks. Plan Blitz Umami, though, was a fantastic call, Vapor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was gorgeous. It's something that we've been doing well on Umami in general, not just Clan Blitz, but even if you want to look at something like Zones, we've been doing very well on Umami as a map. So why not make that? It's always been that clutch map play when we are down in these situations, so why not go back to it?
Yup. I'm listening to Reflection by Milan, so I did not hear what you said, but like I completely agree though, for real.
But
I think Reflection will be my go-to karaoke song, by the way.
I think, you know what, Mew? I could see you rocking it. But anyways.
I could see you rocking a lot of things, David.
Let's continue.
Zones B&D ends up being a really good call. Probably, I think, our worst Zones option. We're like, I felt they were going to go to Zones on us. And it was like, of the Zones options, this is the worst. I think Crab Leg Zones is in there. But this is the second worst option. And so it's like, damn, B&D Zones, but we've been practicing on it. And we get them. We get them in this one. Again, we make it 2-2. And I think we get a lot of... I think we kind of mentally shake them after a while, because they've not had a lot of opposition in SAC at all. The only loss that they've had in all of SAC is the Helios Grand Finals of Qualifier 3. And so we go into this one feeling hot. We had mentally, we are ready to go going into Mahi Mahi, and we take care of business in Mahi in pretty solid way too.
Mm-hmm. Our team coordination was very, very strong here. Like I know there was one time where I was just stranded alone, taking a 2v1 and just taking the fire, stalling for time as Moo and Pepe were moving in, and we ended up getting both of those players without dropping one.
Yeah, and we make some really good adjustments there. We kind of picked out our key players to take out what was really fundamentally the glue to those teams, along with just like a couple small other points, where we're going to go a little bit better, working together better. We make some great adjustments on this group that had been doing really well in SAC. And I'll tell you what, it felt really, really good to get this win in the first time we faced this team the entire season.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
But unfortunately, it's the last time we faced that team. Because, kind of looking at the loser side here, we talked about Helios a little bit. Surprised us. Free Flow surprised us. But shout outs to Distinct and the Insomniac. I don't remember what the full name is. Insomniac Central? Central, yeah. Like, shout outs to them taking those teams out. because those are two teams that I thought would go further. So both of them taking things down, big on them. We say my opposite, they drop down into Retro. Retro takes care of business. Remember I talked about they had a really good winner side, and then unfortunately the loser side, the first time they dropped down. Retro Records takes them out.
And then Retro versus Cafeteria get the rematch there in loser semis.
Which which was a 3-0 in Cafeteria thing, but instead ends up being a 2-1. Retro makes that way closer than the first time. And then the Cafeteria drops in here. For the life of me, we don't know what kind of happened to Chalky Milkshake here. Cafeteria takes care of business in this one. I mean, they put up a better record. They get a 1-3 than the 2-3 that we had to fight them. So I don't know if mentally just that loss was different to, I without asking them directly. And it's just like, maybe they had to sit for like an hour and a half. Maybe that sitting for that long time. DE is just not fun with that. Sitting for an hour, you're mentally just kind of like dreading it. You're in losers. You felt like you should have been winning. I've been in that spot where I felt like we should have won a set. And then having to wait that long. And then Cafeteria's coming in red hot after a 2-1, a bunch of 2-1s, by the way. This Cafeteria, two 2-1s in a row. Cafeteria comes in hot, like, yeah, we're gonna beat some people up. They take care of business here. Zone Ship Shape, Zone Haggle, lose TC Inkblot, but still, they finished it up well in Clamblitz, Barnacle Dime. That was a pretty decisive game there that they had on Chalky Milkshake. And that's just surprised us. I mean, a team that was the number 1 seed ends up dropping to 3rd overall in this one. And then, guys, we face the 7th, so the 7th seed faces us again. But we took care of business here. I think we did really well.
Is it fair to say that the moment, because I think we all were watching the Cafeteria versus Chocolate Milkshake set, because I believe at that point day 1 of CCA was done, so I think basically we all were in there and watching. Is it safe to say that the moment that the Cafeteria won that set, that I think a feeling came over all of us that we have this in the bag, like it's over?
Not as a disrespect,
Whoa, David.
I don't
not as a disrespect to Cafeteria,
in a mean way.
Not as a disrespect, but because we'd already had the confidence of beating them, and we knew that Chocolate Milkshake, we had to scratch and claw our way through the Chocolate Milkshake set. I think in a way, us seeing the Cafeteria was kind of like, we dominated them once, let's just go and do it again. Whereas if we knew that if Chocolate Milkshake came up, we knew it was going to be, just fighting for every single inch, because they took us, they forced us into a reverse sweep situation. So again, this is not in a way a disrespect to the Cafeteria at all, but at least that when I saw that, I was like, you guys have this in the bag.
Yeah,
it was almost like a vague sense of relief that the Cafeteria took out who was the favorite for this whole event.
Yeah. We got that combo, the 1-2 punch with the Cafeteria to take out Chocolate Milkshake. But
I agree.
Yeah, I agree, because I mean the game we lost was a disconnect.
I agree even harder.
And we were winning that game before the disconnect.
Yeah.
So it was a situation where we could have been 3-0. We could have 3-0'd them reasonably in the first time we faced the Cafeteria. So I do agree. It isn't that I'm surprised we swept this, because I did expect them to take a game or two off us, or heck, even make us go into a bracket reset. But I mean, I think at that point we were so mentally ready to go. We had kind of warmed up. We had played Salmon Run and then re-warmed up, kind of mentally focused up and just ready to go. And I think that made a big difference, especially once we won game 1. There wasn't a way to muck with us anymore. It's at worst, okay, we fall to 1-1 or something like we clearly can beat them. We've beat them once, and now it isn't like they were playing hot, because they just beat the number 1 seed. And they haven't had a break like we had. And we just took care of business though. And then they picked 2 of our better maps option wise. We got Mahi was the default. We win Mahi, and they picked TC Inkblot, which was the one we came back on. We were like, oh yeah, thank you. Like, we already showed we could beat you on this.
Yeah.
Though it was really close, but that one was pretty dominant. A pretty dominant game now. And then they went to Zones Umami, and I'll tell you what, Vapor and Moo had a great play there to seal that one.
It was definitely very fun, very fun to end it the way we did, and as well. At that point, we knew we weren't able to get that full entire recap, especially with it just being us two in a 2v3 against the other team at that point. So it was more focused to pick to make it even numbers, and Explo Machine outpaints whatever they had going through.
Oh god, that did not. that didn't go very well.
I agree.
Yeah, that was huge. I mean, we had a good advantage. The Umami game was the closest one.
I agree.
And that one, we barely edge out the lead.
Edge.
And then
Out?
And then they get a good hit wipe on us, or it's staggered wipe. And as they are coming back, just that Vapor and Moo, just huge the way you guys did that. It's so huge. You guys just held one zone enough that they couldn't win in overtime because they couldn't hold the cap long enough. And overtime, it was just huge. It was so amazing that you guys could do that.
I agree.
So clutch. It was very, very clutch.
Thank you. I agree.
Not very many zones games are won in that fashion by running out the timer as opposed to the zone actually flipping. Ooh. So it's a bold strategy regardless of whether that's something you pivot into or whether it's actually planned. Regardless, no matter what, whenever you end up in that strategy, it is insanely bold because one way or another, it can take a sneeze for that strategy to go awry. It was very impressive that is ultimately how that ended. There's definitely not as much fanfare with that either, taking that approach because you're just running out of timer as opposed to they flipped the zone, they did it, and you're kind of saying you're what is going on? There's just a lot of inaction, but at least as far as the objective is concerned. But it was still a very hype ending nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. And we barely got that lead too, as well. So Kraken, I sent you a link at the very end of our lead taking push. With about a minute 30 left of the game here.
3v3 situation.
But just look how close we are able to steal this lead away from the cafeteria.
Don't mind you're a manager bar on the bottom. That's because I'm on my personal account.
Trying to push in a 3v3 situation. 2 players now down.
But I trade up here on the top.
They need to cap it right now. With the splashdown coming out in time too. Who is going to get it? It's going to be the Trigger
Get just the lead. It's so
1 minute remaining 9. Lots of penalty points, but the game has changed in control for Triggerfish.
It's very close, and then they got a really good opportunity here.
I'm going to here.
Finding one to stall. This is a really good staggered wipe by the cafeteria to try to knock us out.
But such a huge penalty they're going to have to get through already, having a hard time getting
30 seconds until you get to overtime. Spoiler alert. I caught my whales to try to get this crab to at least move them on you guys, and the whales attached to somebody else. I'm like,
taking out Vapor is exactly who you'd want.
I maybe could have held them a little bit longer too.
Now waiting out takes out another one there. That is 2 down here, and they know where this last member is.
Even though my whales aren't attached there, I'm just kind of stuck in no man's land because I'm hoping to move forward.
Probably going to wait for a couple other members of the team in order to get maximum value. They only need one more
into the final few seconds as well.
Folks. A couple going down
just
on
a
one side, a couple going down on the other
Like, we're
side.
two
It's
down,
just going to be
specials
Faber who
all
comes
over
in
the
again
place, and we
with
just
it. Will it be long
outpaint
enough?
them.
Will it stall long enough? We're in overtime.
Mm-hmm. Literally just paint
Everybody
zone.
going, and you're not
One
gonna
from the top, one
outpaint
from the
this
bottom. And
comp.
they went for the
Absolutely
zone
not.
instead of maybe going for the pick on you there, Vapor, because you were vulnerable.
I cannot believe for 3
Yeah.
games in a row, Falco.
Like you were on the low side here.
Mm-hmm.
You can see
Yeah.
Vapor's here, down here on the bottom.
With
As
it,
they kind
will
of
it
take
be
it
long
up.
enough?
So
Will
Vapor's
it stall
vulnerable. You
long
see,
enough?
Soda,
We're in overtime.
it could have went
Everybody
for
going,
you
and
there.
You're not gonna outpaint
Mhm.
this.
If
comp.
if they made that
Yeah,
decision
we
to
got-
pivot towards
Trigger
you
this
and take you
zone
out,
supremacy.
there's a
I
good chance
cannot
they
believe for
take
3 games
control.
in a row, Falco.
But
Yeah.
obviously, you have to make a split second decision of this timer's running out. We need to cap the zone, or do you go for do you have enough time to go for the player and then the zone?
Mm-hmm. At that point, it's just a panic option for them. What do you need to do? They were no shame to cafeteria at all, but they just weren't. They just didn't know mentally what the right play was at that individual point. So they just decided to go. So they just decided to go for the zone, and without taking me out, they had no other way to recap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
that was
agree.
really, really big play by you two. I think, very, very huge secure. No, I'm sorry, Neptune. Just
Mm-hmm.
but like, yeah, that it was so key that you guys could do that, and it was just good call, and you forced them to make a choice, and they made the wrong one, and you guys took advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if we have lost that game, we had 2 other games in our back pocket, which would 100% go to our counter pick.
And mind you, we have a bracket reset after that too.
Yeah.
We had an opportunity to win 1 of 2 games after that, or on our map, as you point out, and then or win 3 in another set. Which I don't think would have gone well. I don't think it would have necessarily gone well, but it would have definitely been, I would say, harder. Actually, the bracket reset would have been harder for us, just because mentally that would have been tougher for us, because we ride mentally up and down. And so, like, that would have been like, man, why did we fuck? Like, we had the opportunity, but yeah, no, we take care of business, and I'm really glad we did. Get that badge.
I mean, just do what
Zoom.
like we don't perform well in individual events, but when something matters the most, we are there. We are always ready to give it our best shot, and we do pretty well off that, no matter what the case is.
We love to throw when things don't matter. The
Yeah.
cheesiest meme.
I agree.
The one Flutie we played, where we had a losing game record, but still ended up making that top cut.
We didn't have a losing. We were 8-7.
We were?
Yeah, we were 8-7 game wise. 4-1 set in sets, and the team we forced a triangle, and we were the top of the triangle. So we came out of Flutie as the number 1 in our group while going 8-7 game wise, because we lost literally every game that we could, because it was like play all threes, and so we went 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 0-3.
Yep.
Something like that. Whatever that math. Yeah, that would be 8-7.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just TZS for you.
Classic.
We like to do things the hard way.
We like to torture ourselves.
Exactly.
We're masochists.
So find out how we complicate our tournament in 23 minutes.
Yeah, that's why the topics now say, haha, you thought we were getting to more topics.
Yeah.
This is why we need like a 3-hour, 4-hour podcast. In actuality, just because that's just the way we are. I mean, and mind you, we do this stuff all the time. Just not on stream. We'll just sit here in a
Pretty much.
Before last podcast, me and Vapor sat there for an hour bullshitting about it, about different things.
Yeah.
We
There's a lot.
We just need to pop up
that we yap
podcasts all the
about.
time.
Can we upload this to Spotify? That way we could get money.
We should upload the podcast to different places. That's besides my YouTube channel. Go
Yeah,
subscribe, Kraken Mare 77 on YouTube. It's streamed live right there right now. Cough, cough.
Maybe I should have a gay son.
Anyways,
I think we have to stick on SAC and just as our only topic for today.
No,
Which is fair. Because
No,
I think Vapor and I have a lot of things to say about the CC that would do
Yeah.
it justice in the span of 20 minutes.
we're
Yeah.
going to go into more miscellaneous topics made by me now. So, what's everyone planning to do for Christmas?
We still have SAC stuff to talk about, buddy. We're not even done
Yeah.
with SAC.
we're
What
not
the fuck
done
do you
with
mean
SAC. We're not done with
I gotta
SAC.
roast SAC constructively.
Oh my god.
We talked about this as a team beforehand.
Fucking look at this 30-year-old.
Which admittedly I did not double check the math, but I do trust what you have said. But yeah, I will let you yap about it because again in a constructive manner, just because we're all numbers people here, so we like to look at numbers as it pertains to tournaments.
Yeah, so I want to start by prefacing this as this is a constructive criticism, and I have already given this feedback to the TOs in the proper channels. So I have utilized the proper channels with this, but I've gotten no responses on this. Because I went through and did a lot of math, because math is fun. So I went through and I talked about this in this, and I went back in our VODs. Literally before set 1, we had issues with the rules. David, you comment literally before set 1 that the rules are not consistent for SAC.
They were not.
So, but yes, for the SAC people, I love you guys. I know you guys are good TOs. I know you guys are going to take this and hopefully constructively make the next season better. So please play an SAC when season 10 comes around. They hopefully will fix all this stuff. And I assume some of this, they've talked about automating some of these things too. So they might even just do, because some of the problems I think is partly human error. Okay, a lot of it's human error.
No, they should have used AI.
So here's our official standings here. And I want to also
Definitely
preference
the
the
official
top 12
standings.
does not change. So
Top 12 does not change.
I even in the feedback, I told them, because I sent the feedback in, I sent it after, this is
He sent
the
it after?
25th. So I sent it in the
25th.
feedback after they declared that the points were final. And in the feedback, I note, hey, the top 12 doesn't change with this, but I calculated that 36% of teams have the wrong points. 36% of teams in this is the official points here, a copy of it, is incorrect. And that is insane to me based on the rules. I understand, occasionally you make mistakes, right? Like with using, say, this rule, for every win, 1 loss. I think one of the situations is the team went 2-2-1-1 in groups, and then they didn't make a bracket, and so they would have normally gotten 5 points for that, or 6 points or whatever, and they got 5 points. They got like 1 point wrong, and like that happens, right? That we all make mistakes. I've made mistakes, played many mistakes as a TOs. I won't lie. I try to minimize those, try to learn from them and whatnot. But like the 36, if I tell you. And by the way, I told them before Q3 that I saw problems. Before Q4. And I told them in feedback that 36% of teams were wrong. And I'm surprised I never got reached out to. Like, hey, what's the math are you getting to get 36% of teams? So here we go. We're going to talk about it now. So again, the top 12 doesn't really change. Let me duplicate this so you guys can see it twice. Let me make a new tab. Do that. I'll pull it over here. We'll pull this one over here.
You guys gonna watch Squid Game season 2?
All right, you're muted.
So you can see,
Bro, Mitch is gone.
Nothing here in the top 12 changes, luckily. But you can see here, Peace Strikers, the closest that happened, Peace Strikers ties for 12th place because of the changes. Peace Strikers here, you can see they're sitting at 17 on line 17 here, which is tied for 12th place. But on tiebreakers, they would lose out, so it doesn't change it because the first tiebreaker is highest position. So 2 teams are ahead of him on that, and then the tiebreaker of are you a team versus a pickup, which is how Helios got in over Astral Aces for the top cut. So they would rightfully not get there. However, you can see that Peace Strikers actually got screwed over by 20 points. You can see that they're sitting under Loxay in the official standings on the left side. And on the right side, again, they move up only a couple places, mind you, but again, tied for 12th place, and that's a huge thing. If they show up for either of the 2 finals and get 1 point, literally play 1 set and drop, they could just lose the set and drop. They just have to show up to the game. They actually get in over Helios. And having that incorrect information going to Q3 and Q4, I think, is huge. I don't know what's happening in the Peace Strikers. I don't know them in any way. I don't even know who's on the team, to be honest with you. I didn't look it up. But that's something they may have said, hey, we're at 150 points. What if we go play this half-heartedly? We might make top cut. And they just had to show up to either of those. And if that information is right, they may go do that. Anyways, I'm gonna make this back to full screen. So that is huge. You can see every team that's bolded on this screen is a team that has the incorrect amount of points. The bold numbers means it gets halved. So the rules on it, you can see how ours is bold. That we had the right amount of points there, but that number got halved. It was just for my own sanity. You can see I went through in all of the errors. I got 77. This is not a joke, people. 77. It's everywhere. Errors here.
Fortunately, most of the numbers that are that are a little scuffed are small numbers. Fortunately, like you had previously mentioned. I do think that one where Peace Strikers is probably one of the bigger whiffs, but it's mainly because of qualifier 1. Qualifier 1, the whole 9 or 3 group thing, I think just really messed things up, and it just made the scoring make no sense. So to me, I think what happened is they ended up kind of taking on maybe a slightly different scoring system in that qualifier 1 that just was never very transparently conveyed. I'm sure that they probably mentioned it somewhere briefly, but obviously as you're looking at the scoring sheet, it just doesn't match. So it would be nice, if that is what ultimately ended up happening, is if hey, low asterisk, qualifier 1, this is what happened, we took on a different scoring scale. So for qualifier 1, I think any mistakes that happen there are definitely hey, we understand. It's just that's just not what we're currently seeing.
Well,
so
that's not even true, David. Teams that were placed in they were not even in the right order. So the way they did it is they just took the raw number and applied it, just like they would in any other tournament. So looking at gold bracket here, right? This team finding a cooler bot that is hard, or is hard finding a cooler bot is hard. Okay.
Okay. I was like, what words are you saying? Okay, I see it now.
Yeah, they just got the 9th place points. They got the 90 points, which
they should.
Just
debatable.
I have debatable,
but I understand it.
They are setting a precedent. They're just going to go down the list, and so that's what when I was recalculating this, the recalc applying the SAC rules, that's what I used. Is I just went down the line. Your 9th place got this many points, 10th place got this many points. Just follow the same path that they did. And so, yeah, like what was it? Finding a cooler bot, 90 points. Yeah, you see, they got 90 points in the official thing. They got the right amount of points based on just applying it that way, and that's what I followed. I followed what is in the rule doc and what is here, because they are not consistent. They don't have this first asterisk that is applied. It's not in the rule set. Fun fact. They're not in their official rule doc. So if I go to
absolutely.
So their rules are very inconsistent. Here's the full. We'll pull it up here. Points. You can see it does. They don't mention it anywhere here, but you can see this. The distribution is accurate, but then they never mention that. So you have to then apply that this points here on the screen are actually consistently part of the system. And they don't use the second point either, by the way, anywhere else. But you have to say that these rules are true because they're applied elsewhere. So they're picking parts everywhere. And their announcements don't either have... Some of the things that end up getting announced were not accurate. Thank you, Mewtwo, for going with the yelling. So there's just a lot of inconsistencies. I would definitely... SAC needs to clean up their rules because they're inconsistent all over the place, from announcements to here to their official rule doc are just not consistent. And so I want to highlight a few of them in particular. You can see this. I have an opinion-based thing, which doesn't change top 12 other than Retro Records actually gets more points, but that's a story for another time because we don't have that very much time. One of the ones I want to apply with Q1 and just say that they bluntly just incorrectly applied things. So they are correct with Retro Records gets the right amount of points. I don't think they should have gotten 90 points in my opinion, but they get, if you just go down the points, they get the 10th place amount of points. And then the next in position wise, because it's finals, Lock-In is number 2, Team 7 is number 3, and Serenade is number 4. Sorry, I have an alarm going off. Let me stop that. Yeah. So they should get Retro Record should be 10th position points, Lock-In 11, Team 12 or Team 7 gets 12th, Serenade gets 13th. And if you look, so 75, 65, 60, and 50. If you look here on the official thing, where is Serenade? Serenade gets 65 points. They gave them, the 4th place team in silver, the amount of points the 2nd place team should have gotten. They gave them 2 bonus places. Okay. And then Lock-In got 50 points. So if Lock-In loses 15 points and Serenade gets 15 bonus points. And that happens all throughout this bracket. What was the other team? The other team that got 3rd place was Team 7. Team 7 also got 50 points. So Serenade that gets 4th in the bracket gets 15 more points than 2 teams that were ahead of them.
Something went wrong there.
That's just insane to me. That I brought this up and they said they looked into it and they just didn't. And that's what bothers me.
I definitely give benefit of the doubt in that, maybe it was just one of those things like, hey, these are teams that didn't qualify. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but that's definitely something I would certainly hope that they look to correct in the future because it could very much have a greater impact on the playoff race. So yeah, for sure. I do hope that they did actually take a deep look at some of those because I think you do have some very valid points here. We'll put it like that. So yeah, we'll certainly keep our fingers crossed because I would definitely like to see the sheets get a little tidied up.
I think that one you can see here. There's the rescore. You can see them side by side. 15 points for Lock-In was one of the teams that we just mentioned lost points. There was again, Peace Strikers lost 20 points. That's a huge amount of points they lost. In some teams, I mean, they lost a ton of points. You can see Red Leviathans. When I recount it, they got 13 more points. They more than doubled their point total. Mind you, they're not playing for the playoffs, but it's still like, as a respect thing to all teams, you should try to get them the right amount of points. And them, all 3 qualifiers they played in, they got the wrong amount of points. And I'm just like, what? And so, like, I hope SAC can go, yeah, we need to, like, fix that, because that's not acceptable. Another team here that I always butcher their team name. You can see 2 of their qualifiers had the wrong amount of points here. And it's just, like, insane the way that happened. What was one of the teams that we had Lock-In, we had Serenade. You see Serenade, that was the only one they ended up playing in. But those, if they had played more, assuming they could get a couple silvers in the silver running, you only need 150 points to make it in. If they had played 2 more times and had gotten silver bracket, they could have been in the top 12 with a bonus of 15 points they shouldn't have had. And so, like, that's just huge to me. Looking at it, just it could have went. And then I know it also trickled down into bronze a little bit too. It isn't hard. I don't remember what the full team name on this. If I can find it really quickly. It isn't hard to tell. You can see they got 15 points. They won bronze bracket. It isn't hard to tell. They got 15. They got. They should have gotten 25 points. They got 15 points. Look where the Nugget deploy, the team that we all actually lost a game to in this one, in the round 1. They are sitting in near the bottom of the bracket. They get 20 points officially. Where's it at? N. They officially got 20 points. So the winner of the bracket got less points than a team that didn't even win round 1 of the bracket. And that is not a slight to the team in any way. It's just the fact that the points were given wrong. And it's just like insanity to me that this was just that those things were just obvious misses in this one. I think Eureka also gets less, or gets even amount of points, maybe? Eureka, yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, they officially got 25 points when they should have only gotten 15 points.
Okay, well.
So the 3rd place team was given the official win for this bracket, while this team got less points than a team that lost round 1 of the bracket. There's a lot of mess ups in this one. I think 18 of the incorrect scores, or teams that had incorrect scores, come back to Q1.
Or qualifier 1.
And then 14 related just across the other 3 in some fashion. Mind you, I don't think I included duplicates. So if you screwed up in Q1, I didn't include this one. Because obviously I had 77 individual errors. So that was big to me. Oh yeah, this team didn't even get any points. Bowser didn't get put on the scoreboard at all. It threw me off. I was like, did they have a weird name? Because there's a one called the Freak Squad. They called them the Freaks +1, so I had to manually find them. And that's just a name thing where they named them differently, because they were officially called the Freaks +1, but the SAC called them the Freak Squad. That one. So when I did the same thing the next one, because that was Q2 that they played in, Bowser played, they didn't get any points for that one at all. There was no leftover teams that I couldn't account for. And it's just like, oh my gosh. Looking back at this one, the Big Fat Sea Cows one, you can actually eliminate the error there, because that one is just a difference between the way where I cut the points. So that one we'll take out. That will lessen 1 error, or 2 errors. So 75 errors. We lessered those ones. No more 77, folks. But you can see a lot of them if you go back, a lot of Q1 individual errors here. But then you find a lot of them stemming back to this rule. also the same amount of points rule, which was just not randomly applied when the other rule above it was applied, and both of those are only shown here. They never talk about announcements, and they never talked about it in the rule set. So that is something too, where it's just like, this is officially on the points. Why was this not included? I mean, obviously I can tell it's an older rule, right? As it talks about silver bracket 24th place, because that was back when there was top 12 per bracket. Or 12 per bracket instead of 8 per bracket like it is now. But if you assume that this is an applied team, a bunch of teams should have gotten 10 points that didn't get 10 points. So they get like 5 points instead of 10 points. So a lot of those come down to that too. But then again, they were just some of the ones that were just basic math issues. But I do hope the SAC crew, and knowing the SAC TOs, they're going to read that feedback and go, oh crap, we kind of messed up this one. Oops. Luckily, it didn't affect our top 12 in any way. And, you know, I made sure in my feedback to note this didn't affect the top 12 directly. It came close, but it didn't. And so, like, luckily, it wasn't the end of the world. And it didn't change anything. You know, no team should have taken a top 12 spot that didn't. But if 36% of teams have wrong scores, next time that may affect that. This one is the one if you do the Q1 the way I would have thought to do it, and you could see that Retro would be the only one in the top 12 that would have changed anything. So it would have given the team that was higher than us more points.
Well,
but
not to cut you off, Kraken, but
we gotta play the game.
Yeah.
We gotta go play the video game here real soon. So I am getting into the game right now, but I guess we could go ahead and start to wrap this one up. So we only got through the one topic, but you know what? I think that was a very engaging 2-hour discussion. And I am excited to talk more, you know, in the coming weeks. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll be sooner than a month when we do the next one, because I think that there's a lot to say in the realm of CCA and, you know, tournaments and, you know, projects that we're all kind of working on outside of TZS, and then the team versus pickup culture. So, yeah. So with that said, I guess Kraken, you can go ahead and I don't know how you're gonna do this transition thing. So why don't you do the temporary sign off so you can go make your swap over?
Yeah, appreciate you all coming to the TZS podcast. We'll be swapping over to Sploon in just a moment, folks. So hang in there. We'll see you in a moment.